you'll find a chance for you to go there too, to find your truth, find a new you before you do.
Hey, brother, I can see something's bothering you today. If you don't mind, may I ask what's wrong?
Yes, bro, I have so many problems. I don't know how to solve them.
I'll give you some advice from the bottom of my heart that we as Muslims should know.
Yeah, sure, please.
The first thing you should do is do what you do every day. In your salah, who do you ask for help?
Allah, of course.
Of course, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. So ask Allah for help. If you ask Him sincerely, He will find a way for you. The second thing I would do is prioritize your problems. What is the big ones? What are the small ones? What do I tackle first? And along with this, after this, I would seek answers in the Seerah of Muhammad in his prophetic biography. How did he solve problems? You'll find answers to how to fix your problems in there. Once you do this, I think you'll find solace in your heart, and your problems will find solutions.
Very valuable advice. Jazakallah khair.
You wake up in the morning, you want to brush your teeth. You have your toothbrush, but you don't have toothpaste. Problem. A problem that needs a solution. You go to the closet, searching for your shoes. You're going to be late for work. Work is in about 20 minutes. You find one shoe, the other one, you don't know where it is. Maybe your daughter threw it from the balcony. You go down to the car. Your gas is almost empty. You don't even have enough for you to go to work. Problem after problem after problem. How to solve these problems? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the best of the people are those who are most beneficial to others. For me to be beneficial to others, I must be beneficial to myself first. For me to solve other people's problems, I must know how to solve my own problems first. And we see that throughout the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He went through a lot of problems, but yet he was able to solve his problems. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when we want to define a problem, what do we say, or how could we describe what the word or the terminology problem means? Brother Idris.
For me, I think most people won't think about it this way, but it's a key way to change in your whole viewpoint, is to think of problems as opportunities.
Opportunity, good. Let's add that to the board. So what do you mean by opportunity? Could you elaborate a little bit more?
Yes, opportunities in the sense of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends you these problems in order for you to gain blessings, for you to gain a lot of barakah and raise your ranks, and hopefully help you enter Jannah.
Great. Could you share with us an example?
One quick example is that we as humans, we don't like when people ask of us constantly, or when we don't feel like it. But when someone comes and begs to you, begging money, begging food, Allah is sending you opportunity to give sadaqah. Sadaqah is, in the hadith we know that sadaqah is a sign of iman. So this is proving your iman through sadaqah.
Yeah. And some people reject it. Like when somebody comes to them and starts begging or asks for $8, he's like, oh boy, not again. What does he want, right?
Yes.
But we also know that on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the servant, why didn't you feed me? And the servant will say, oh Allah, how could I feed you? And you are the Lord of the worlds. And Allah will say, didn't you know that so-and-so requested food from you? Didn't you know if you fed so-and-so, you would have surely found that with me? And he lost that opportunity, right? He lost the opportunity to find that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a problem is an opportunity. And if one solves his problem correctly, then he could overcome that problem. All right. What else could we add, Brother Omar?
It's a challenge.
Challenge. Yes. Very interesting. And what do you mean by challenge?
One of the previous episodes, we talked about that being pushed. So sometimes maybe Allah is going to decree something for us. Maybe we don't like an incident or circumstances that we are encompassed by, but this is going to make our characteristics grow. We're going to be stronger. We're going to, maybe after the challenge go away, we're going to say this is the best thing that happened to us because we learned a lot from it.
Great. You know, they say you have to accept challenges. I say no. You don't have to accept challenges. You should initiate a challenge. Why? When you initiate a challenge, This will lead from you moving from here to here, moving forward when you initiate the challenge. So a problem is a challenge.
Yes.
Good point. What else could we say?
I would say uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Yes.
What do you mean by uncertainty?
It may be a problem that you have too many options and you don't know which one is the best, and you are unsure. And the best way for this is to pray istikhara and to consult Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to ask the people who are experienced and who have knowledge, and they can just give you advice about this option or that one.
So a problem often evolves from uncertainty. He's not sure, a problem is going on. For example, you're in a studio recording, then suddenly, as you're recording, you have to stop recording. Why? Because the battery died for the camera, or something happened, the lights turned off. So this, a problem occurred here that led to uncertainty.
Yeah.
We're not sure if we were able to do it the right way, right?
Exactly.
Great. Yes?
Closing a gap or correcting a deviation.
Closing a
Closing
gap.
or correcting a deviation.
Closing a gap.
Like,
Could you elaborate more?
for instance, having a flat tire.
Having a flat tire.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a problem which I need to work around.
And what is a solution for that?
Getting it fixed.
What if you're on the highway and there's nobody to help you fix it?
Okay, I have to pull over and try to fix it myself.
Or just sleep in the car and wait for somebody to come. But nowadays we have mobile phones, right?
Right.
Back in the 70s and 60s when there were no phones, it
You're
was
stuck.
a bigger problem for them.
Right. Yeah.
SubhanAllah. So with technology, our problems get solved.
Yes.
That's a good point that we just mentioned.
Right.
Yes?
I'd say knowledge. I mean, the more problems, or maybe let's say failure you have, or you earn in the way, you learn one more way how to not face a problem or a failure.
Uh-huh.
You see, so you learn, so you gain a lot. You see, the more problems you have, you gain more knowledge with it. So I think it's a positive thing. It's not, it's something that you can learn from. Like I think Isaac Newton or someone said, the more failure you face, the more successful you'll get. You'll just find one way it won't work.
Thomas Edison is another example.
I think it's
Thomas Edison, the one who created or invented the electric light. He is the one who invented the first electric light. Thomas Edison said, genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. 99% sweat and 1% wisdom or inspiration from Allah. He didn't mean Allah, but that's what we relate it to. SubhanAllah. So inspiration, genius is 1% of that. And we know that Thomas, he had a lot of problems. You know what his problem was?
no.
He was unable to put this electric light together until he tried it over 1,000 times. Yeah, like 990 something times. It didn't work out. Then when he reached 1,000 or 1,000 and something, that's when it finally worked out. So a best way to solve your problem is to keep trying, because sooner or later, you're going to get there. Yes, Brother Ismail?
Yeah, to me, I think the issue of solving a problem, I see it as to me like something that I have a doubt. When I want to do something, I don't know actually whether I should do it or I shouldn't. So whenever I have doubts, I don't understand, especially for example in prayer. If we have consumed time in our jobs, we go home, we are tired, we start to pray maybe Isha or Maghrib, and you feel like I prayed 2 rakat or 3 rakat. So you have this doubt, it's so much, disturbing. And some time ago, I went to the market, so I found 2 people who are very poor. They were asking people like for some pounds. So I had 5 pounds, and the money that I had was very limited. I decided to give these 2 people 5 pounds to share. But when I gave to the woman, she ran away, and the other one was asking me, give me 5 pounds. I said, no, I gave 5 pounds to both of you. She said, no, she ran away. You have to give me 5 pounds. So I was actually, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have another money. So I went away, but my heart was not actually pleased, because if I had more money, I would have given to this lady.
I'll give you a solution.
Least.
Next time when you have 5 pounds and 2 women come to you, cut the 5 pounds in half, give her half, give her the other half. Great,
Yeah.
that's a good point. You want to add something else to that?
Well, for things that actually I faced, I found some doubts and I was able to solve. When I came here in Egypt, I found some problems actually, especially, this is not your country, the culture is different. But I tried to get some friends like my friend here. So I mingled with the Egyptians who are my friends in the university. So, I was able to succeed.
That was a problem, right?
Yeah, it was a
Cultural
problem.
barrier, language barrier, and all
Yeah,
of
I
this.
came with my friends, nine of from Sierra Leone. So all of them went. But I tried. I said no, I can't solve this problem. I know that there is culture, there's language barrier. Let me try it, and I succeeded.
MashaAllah. With the success of Allah, you were able to solve your problem. And solving problems is very much desired for every Muslim. We need to solve our problems because when we run away from the problem, we think that it's going to get smaller, it's going to shrink, or it's just going to disappear. But what really happens is that the problem is growing and growing. Yeah, like I remember a situation of a man where he broke the law when he was like 30 years old, and he got away with it until he was like 65 years old. When he was 65, they finally, they found out that he broke the law, and they called him in, and he had to go to court for like so many months. Why? Because he broke the law 35 or 40 years ago. SubhanAllah. So when you run away from it, you're not really running away from the problem, and it's not being solved. What's happening is you're running away from it to make it get bigger so it could chase you up, like a big bubble, yeah? Now you're running, and it's a small bubble. And as you're running further, it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. And when it comes to you, it's going to make you fly. All right, so other descriptions of problems. What else could we say about problems? Let's relate this more to Islam and examples from the seerah or from companions of the Prophet ﷺ.
I think, not to jump ahead and be too far towards the end of it, but I think if we look at problems as Allah says in the Quran, that, did you think you will be given Jannah and not be tested? And what are the tests? One of the tests is problems. Of course, there's other means of tests of getting wealth. Not having problems is a test.
Okay.
But one of those things is, this is a test. This is part of what makes you who you are. It's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps you to gain things, to raise your ranks. So this is, if you think about it this way, then it will help you face something that you're afraid of and give you the strength to find a solution towards the problem.
Good. All right. Yes?
I would say that one of the problems is when you do ibadat, or you have to work or to do a job, and in the time of ibadah, and this ibadah is a kind of hard. For example, to work when you're fasting. So this can be a problem. Some people, they find it an opportunity. I'm fasting, so I don't have to work. No, you're fasting and you have to work. So, for some people, it's a little bit difficult to coordinate between being fasting and at the same time you have a job to do.
Good. Okay. So we will take a break and we will talk about a way one of the prophets had his problem solved. Sometimes all it takes is one single word or 3 phrases, and that could solve your problem. We'll be back, inshallah. Don't you go anywhere. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Here we are again in Islamic motivation, talking about solving problems. There are many ways one could solve this problem, and it is indeed a fact that we all go through different problems in our lives, and we shouldn't run away from these problems. In fact, we should have them solved. We know that Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he had a big problem, and he solved this problem. And we're going to talk about that, inshallah, after we say as-salam to our guests. As-salamu alaykum. So, Prophet Yunus alayhi salam, Yunus, what happened during his lifetime? He conveyed the message to the people. He shared the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody accepted, not a single person. So he knew that he had a big problem. He identified his problem. So he made dua to solve the problem. You know, I tried my very best. This is the solution. Let me just make dua. Maybe when they see the anger of Allah, then maybe they will accept, but it will be too late. So Prophet Yunus alayhi salam raised his hands and he made dua against the people and he left. When he left, the people saw the anger of Allah coming down in the skies. The skies turned black. They got scared. That's when they believed in Allah. They stood on mountains. They started making dua. Oh Allah, we believe in you. Bring back Yunus. They searched for Yunus. They couldn't find him. Oh Allah, bring back Yunus. When they believed in the Almighty Allah, every single one of them, not a single one disbelieved. When they believed in Allah, that is when Allah removed His anger away. Now Yunus alayhi salam, he went far away and he got on a boat. When he got on this boat, the boat started to shake. After they got far away in the sea, the boat started to shake due to a storm. Now, Yunus got a feeling that this is a test from the Almighty Allah. This is another problem that needs to be solved. What happened? On that boat, the captain of the boat, or the one in charge, said one person has to get off this boat. Otherwise, we're going to sink and everybody's going to die. So then they brought a piece of paper, or pieces of paper, and they put in the names of all the people on the boat, and they rolled the paper. Whose name came up? Prophet Yunus. They said, okay, let's do it again. This guy is a prophet. So then they brought a piece of paper, they rolled it, and they opened it. It was Yunus again. Yunus knew that this is a sign from Allah, that he has to jump off the boat. They did it the third time. Yunus's name appeared again. Yunus jumped off the boat. A whale came and swallowed Yunus. Now he got swallowed. He's in three darknesses: the darkness of the ocean, the darkness of the stomach of the whale, and the darkness of the night. Now Yunus thought that he was dead. He didn't know that he was alive until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the fish in the sea to glorify him. So all the fish in the sea say subhanallah. Yunus hears this. He knows that he's in the sea. He hears fish saying subhanallah. So then he starts making dua. He either raises his hand or he does sujood, and he says three phrases. And these three phrases are the solution to his problem. Number one, La ilaha illa ant. There is no God but you. Subhanak, glory be to you. Inni kuntu min al-zalimin. I was of the wrongdoers. Number one, Tawheed. You are the only God. Number two, to glorify Allah. You are the greatest and above all. Number three, I confess, I did wrong. As soon as he said that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the whale to spit Yunus out. Yunus came out to the lands, he went back to his people, and all of them were believers. They believed in the Almighty Allah. Problem solved. He had a big problem. This was a tough calamity, but he only said some phrases and Allah solved his problem. Good. So now let's talk about ways of creatively solving our problems. What would you like to say about that, Brother Yasser?
In Quran it says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. And in another verse it says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So on Allah, the believer should rely on. And on Allah, the believer should rely. You know, like the reliers should rely on Allah. In Quran it says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And in another verse it says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. It means on Allah, the reliers should rely on. And on Allah, the believers should rely on Allah. In another verse in Quran it says, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا.
فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا.
إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلُ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. It means, you know, just say istighfar to Allah and He will just send the skies upon you and rain will fall on you. You know, the land will grow plants.
Your problems will be solved.
Everything
in other
now,
words.
because you know nowadays it's all financially. Our problems are financial. So this is the solution to our problems.
So the advice and the solution is istighfar.
That's right.
Allahumma ighfirli. Oh Allah, forgive me. Yes, Brother Wa'il?
Sheikh, throughout the seerah, especially at the early stages, we find that always the disbelievers outnumbered the Muslims in battle of Badr, Uhud, and even the trench. So what the Muslims did, they gather the information and
Good.
analyze.
Let me stop you right there.
Sure.
Because this is a point that we need to talk about. Steps to solve your problem. Number one, information gathering. If
Right.
you gather the information, that's the first step. How can I gather the information? What, when, where, who, why, and how?
Right.
So with all these questions, when you ask what exactly happened, where did it happen, when did it happen, who did it happen to, how did it happen, why did it happen, then you will have gathered enough information for you to move into the next step. I'll let you continue.
So if we go, for instance, to the example of the Battle of the Trench, they gathered the information about the number of the Muslims and the non-Muslims. And then the Prophet ﷺ consulted the companions, and he came up with the I would say the solution. The problem was the number, like the disbelievers outing more number than the
So
Muslims.
he identified the problem,
Yes,
right?
this was
Before he
the-
came with the solution,
Right.
he identified the problem. And usually, in most cases, when we have a problem, we don't really know what the problem is.
Right.
In most cases, when a problem occurs, we don't know what exactly the problem is. So we end up trying to solve it without knowing what the problem is, and that doesn't lead to good results.
Right.
So for us to identify the problem, we need to gather the information first. And the second part here is problem definition. Once you gather the information, you could define the problem. I know what the problem is. The problem is so and so, and that will lead to the next step. Brother Idris, would you like to add something?
I think after you gather the information, you'll understand. It gives you, this is like basically defining what wisdom is. You can't fix a problem without knowing all parameters that are around a problem, as you mentioned. And then once you know the problem, you'll identify it and you'll be able to give the solution. This is what doctors do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a doctor is the one who he comes and examines you. He doesn't come and find one part of you and he finds a mole in your skin. Oh, it's cancer. We're going to give you radiation.
Well, some doctors do that, by the way.
I hope. But he examines everything and then he comes up with the problem, and then then the next step after this would be towards, okay, what solutions are available? What's the best solution for you in your situation, in your problem?
Mm-hmm. Okay, and by identifying the problem, you can move into the next step. Brother Ismail, what could we add?
Yeah, really, the example of my brother here is so important, because everybody is sick, whether now or later, But we can't solve our problems sometimes because we can't identify our health problems, and we go to the experts to identify the problem. The doctors, when they know the problem, they prescribe for us the medicine to take. So this is also applicable to our problems. If you have a problem you don't know how to solve, you don't know the source of the problem, you can't solve it. I mean, you have to know the problem, then you take the steps to solve the problem, then you avoid what actually caused the problem. So you don't go back.
So that's like to take the plan B, or the next course of action.
Exactly.
Yeah? The next course of action. What's next? So that I don't fall into that problem again.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
So this is one of the things that I think people should adopt in their lives. We have many people having problems. They don't know how to solve the problem. Sometimes they go to friends, they explain to them the problems, or they give them examples of the same problem that has occurred, how it was solved. But they disregard, they say, oh, I can't do this because, But so if you don't take the steps that can help you to solve the problem, you can't solve it. You will always have the same problem all the time. So that's why, I really consider the example of my brother here, Idris, for the medical, consultation with the doctor as a very good way to solve the problem.
Good. This reminds me of an interesting story also that needs to be mentioned. Khalid ibn al-Walid, who knows him? Allah's sword, right? Khalid ibn al-Walid, when he used to go to a battle, he wouldn't lose. If he's in the battle, forget about it. He's going to defeat whoever's against him. So he was continuously working in these battles as the leader, the team lead of all the battles, until the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab. When Umar ibn al-Khattab became the leader, a few years passed, he noticed that people are starting to rely on Khalid ibn al-Walid instead of Allah. So if Khalid ibn al-Walid is not with them, they probably wouldn't join the battle. He was like their figure, their role model. And Khalid ibn al-Walid had a good intention. He was always good, inshallah. But we see here that the people themselves, they stopped relying on the Almighty Allah and they started relying on His strength. So Umar, he had to make a decision here, and he had to solve this problem. How did he solve this problem? He identified it first. And he said, Khalid ibn Walid must be withdrew from the army. So he spoke to Khalid, and he told him, you will not be allowed to be the team lead anymore. And Khalid submitted to that, because he's his ruler, he's his leader. He said, I hear and I obey. And he acknowledged that and submitted to that. So we see that Umar ibn Khattab, he solved the problem. He had the solution. And we know that after you identify the problem, you should select the best solution. So you have different solutions, you choose the best one. Umar ibn Khattab had different solutions, and he chose the one that he thought was suitable for that time and for that situation. After that, what do? Brother Wa'il?
Then we implement the solution, then we evaluate it.
Implement and evaluate. By doing so, you will have solved your problem. Right. Brother Umar, would you like to share a comment with us?
I just wanted to add a saying. It goes something like this. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect this different result.
Good. Okay. Now, we did cover some very important points in regards to solving problems. Hopefully, inshallah, from now on, we'll be able to solve them problems so that bubble doesn't grow and get us to fly in the wind. And inshallah, when we solve our problems, we will see that life will be smoother and we'll be able to go with the flow and follow the messages of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the best way. We thank you for watching this, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us wisdom and knowledge and to have mercy on us. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Each day you'll find a chance for you to go there too, to find your truth, find a new you before you do, nothing to do.